This whole Brexit thing, when you know, you're judging them on Brexit, they don't know nothing about it. Who knows about Brexit?
Yeah, quite.
No one's got a fucking clue what Brexit is, yeah? You watch Question Time, it's comedy.
Were you no clearer when Jeremy Corbyn explained
No, I got
Labour's
the clue.
policy?
No one knows what it is. It's like this mad riddle that no one knows what it is, right? So what's happened to that twat David Cameron who called it on? Let's be fair.
I think you're referring to our former Prime Minister.
Yeah, but how comes he can scuttle off? He called all this on.
Yeah.
Yeah?
He has no regrets.
Where is he? He's in Europe, in Nice, with his trotters up, yeah? Where is the geezer? I think he should be held accountable for it. He should be held accountable for it.
It's a valid point. A lot of people do feel
Twats.
that all politicians...
By a communist, tyrannical government who do not care about freedom. Everything this country was built on. The Magna Carta has been abolished and trampled all over by Kier Starmer. Okay? The two-tier policing, the judiciary. The world is watching right now. This is the most important moment in any of our battles. I've been doing this for 15 years. It's led us here. The path has led us here to the 26th of October. Beyond the 26th of October, I'll be in jail by the 28th, 29th. Yeah? Maybe I'll be in jail before, but my film will be ready. Okay? The demonstration will be planned. Music will be planned. Security will be planned. A spectacle will already be planned and put in place. So whatever thoughts they have, it's going ahead. I will be there, right? Through hook or by crook, I'll be there. Now,
Danny Dyer has never been one to hold back. He speaks his mind, regardless of the fallout. And right now, he's furious. Tommy Robinson's arrest isn't just another headline to him, it cuts deeper. It's about authority, control, and the fear of speaking up. Honestly, how many public figures have the guts to say what he's saying?
I know what's gone on previously in my previous prison sentences. I wrote a letter to my wife, and it was a detailing letter. Yeah.
You're right. It's all right. This is a letter to your wife from prison. What did you say?
To make sure they understood why I do what I do. And it's me believing that the worst will come.
That you will die in jail.
The worst will come, and I want my children to know that that I haven't,
While most celebrities stay quiet, fearing backlash, Danny Dyer isn't backing down. He's openly questioning why Robinson was jailed and why those in power seem so eager to silence him. He's not sugarcoating anything. He's addressing it head on. To him, this isn't just about one arrest. It's part of something much bigger and more concerning. And he's determined to make sure people pay attention.
Tommy Robinson, real name Stephen Yaxley Lennon, has been charged under the Terrorism Act.
He hugged supporters waiting outside for him, telling them he was there for telling the truth. Now, one of them asked what'll happen next, and he said, "I'll see what happens, mate. I don't expect to come back out here."
It's rare to see a mainstream entertainer take a stand like this. But Dyer isn't just another actor speaking out. He sees injustice and won't turn a blind eye. He knows the backlash is inevitable and the media will spin his words. But does that faze him? Not at all. To him, silence is just another form of complicity.
I'm 25, but I'm entering my third month of solitary confinement within Woodhill Prison. After 42 days, they had to go to the government after 42 days of isolation. So whose decision is it? Because I know people get frustrated with the prison. It's not the prison. All decisions to do with me and nothing to do with the jail. They're coming from the government. That was I had to give a written response to my opinion on my isolation. After 42 days, it was going to the government for them to continue doing it. So I wrote my written response, which said this doesn't have to happen. When I come in here, I sat down with a psychiatrist and I said to her, "What's 9 months of solitary confinement going to do to me?" She said, "It's going to be devastating for your mental health." So I said, "So why are they doing it?" And 2 weeks ago, this week, I sat down. Every 2 weeks, I have a meeting with the governors and the mental health team are there. Psychiatrists are there, mental health, probation, independent monitoring board. They're all there every 2 weeks because I have to have it because I'm on solitary confinement. And this week, I said, "I'm going to say this because I feel different. I'm telling you, I know how I feel. I feel different. I know I'm only 2 months in. So why am I still being held in solitary confinement?"
Locked away for 23 hours a day. No human contact, no fresh air, no sense of time. This is the reality Tommy Robinson is enduring. This isn't just a standard prison sentence, it's something far harsher. Solitary confinement isn't just about punishment, it's meant to break people, to wear them down mentally, to make them feel invisible. And right now, that's exactly what he's facing.
Those that are spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible, they're not interested in victims, they're interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson, not interested in justice. They're supporting a man who went to prison for nearly collapsing a grooming case, a gang grooming case. These are people who are trying to get some kind of vicarious thrill from street violence that people like Tommy Robinson promote. And those attacking Jess Phillips, who I'm proud to call a colleague and a friend, not protecting victims. Jess Phillips has done 1,000 times more than they've even dreamt about when it comes to protecting victims of sexual abuse throughout her entire career. And so just as I took on the criminal justice system and the institutions when I was chief prosecutor, I'm prepared to call out this for what it is. We've seen this playbook many times, whipping up of intimidation and threats of violence.
For most prisoners, even those guilty of serious crimes, this level of isolation is rare. But for Robinson, it's his daily reality. No phone calls, no visits from his ex-wife, just the same four walls closing in day after day. Solitary confinement is usually reserved for the most dangerous criminals. Yet here it is, being used on a man who simply spoke his mind. And he knows exactly why. He's said it before. He doesn't believe the government just wants him locked away. They want him erased. Because Tommy Robinson isn't just another inmate. He's a symbol of defiance. A symbol of free speech, no matter the cost. And to those in power, that makes him a threat.
But when the poison of the far right leads to serious threats to Jess Phillips and others, then in my book, a line has been crossed. I enjoy the cut and thrust of politics, the robust debate that we must have, but that's got to be based on facts and truth, not on lies, not on those who are so desperate for attention that they're prepared to debase themselves and their country. So this government will get on with the job of protecting victims, including child sexual abuse, mandatory reporting, accelerating the processes. But what I won't tolerate is this discussion and debate based on lies without calling it out.
The real question is, why? If he's just a fringe figure stirring up trouble, why go to such lengths? Why isolate him? Why treat him like a national security threat? The answer is clear. They're afraid. Afraid of what he knows, what he says, and what he stands for. And they'll do whatever it takes to shut him down.
Or the Times newspaper, sharing their article, look what we wrote in 2019 about Islamic prison gangs. Now, Gerard Batten made me his advisor on prison because I had spoke very vocally since 2013 when I come out of Wood Hill Prison, a maximum security jail, which houses some of the worst terrorists in our country, and I saw how they controlled the entire prison. He was battered down for having me as an advisor. Someone who had been to 10 UK jails, okay, had seen firsthand, had spoke to staff in every one of these prisons to understand the recruitment, how they recruit, how they act, all of these things. Beaten down. I made a video in 2017 showing that Islamic terrorists and jihadists are being housed next to British primary schools.
Even the toughest criminals are allowed phone calls. They get to see their families, hear familiar voices, and hold on to some sense of connection. But Robinson, nothing. No contact, no updates, just silence. And that's exactly the point. They don't want him reaching anyone or speaking about what's happening behind those prison walls. They want him erased, and they're doing everything possible to make it happen.
In that video, I made a point of saying, you can have him under surveillance. If he wants to get a knife and kill kids, he can. This latest terrorist was under surveillance. They were following him with guns. He still got to stab 2 people. Why has he been released? Why? Why has he been released? Do you know there's 800 other live investigations now? I saw Piers Morgan talking about how much does it cost. Well, hello, mate. We've been banging our heads against a wall about that. For the last decade, 32 people to monitor one jihadi. We've got 3,000 being monitored every day. That's a cost of £9 billion a year.
This isn't just about punishment, it's about control. If he can't communicate, he can't fight back. He can't share his side of the story or reveal what's happening to him, and with each passing day, they're counting on the world losing interest. But here's the thing, people aren't forgetting. In fact, these extreme measures are only fueling more outrage. The more they try to silence him, the louder the calls for his release grow. And the longer this drags on, the bigger the question becomes. What are they so desperate to keep hidden?
I'm 25, but I'm entering my third month of solitary confinement within Woodhill Prison. After 42 days, they had to go to the government after 42 days of isolation. So whose decision is it? Because I know people get frustrated with the prison. It's not the prison. All decisions to do with me and nothing to do with the jail. They're coming from the government. That was made. I had to give a written response to my opinion on my isolation. After 42 days, it was going to the government for them to continue doing it. So I wrote my written response, which said this doesn't have to happen. When I come in here, I sat down with a psychiatrist and I said to her, what's 9 months of solitary confinement going to do to me? She said it's going to be devastating for your mental health. So I said, so why are they doing it? And 2 weeks ago, this week, I sat down. Every 2 weeks I have a meeting with the governors and the mental health team are there. Psychiatrists are there, mental health, probation, independent monitoring board. They're all there every 2 weeks because I have to have it because I'm on solitary confinement. And this week I said, I'm going to say this because I feel different. I'm telling you, I know how I feel. I feel different. I know I'm only 2 months in. So why am I still being held in solitary confinement?
Because Tommy Robinson isn't just another inmate, his imprisonment feels like a statement. And at the centre of it all is Kier Starmer. The accusations are piling up, with many believing Starmer is ensuring Robinson stays behind bars, silenced and out of sight. Why? Because Robinson has never been afraid to speak uncomfortable truths the government would rather bury. He's exposed corruption, challenged the establishment and built a massive following along the way. That kind of influence is a direct threat to those in power. And right now, no one holds more power than the Prime Minister himself.
Who are thinking about the 26th of October. Maybe you're worried, maybe you're scared. Maybe you think you might lose your job, maybe you think you might get put in prison. We will organise this properly like we did the last ones. You've seen what happens at our events. You've seen the celebration. Let's send a message to the world, to Kier Starmer especially, that the fight is not gone, okay? Not in us anyway. I am travelling back to the UK for literally the fight of my life. I'm fully aware of that. They may throw me to the dogs in prison. I will have to fight for my survival. So men right now are fighting for their lives in prison, who have been falsely imprisoned, unlawfully imprisoned, pressured and forced and blackmailed to plead guilty to crimes they haven't committed.
Starmer isn't just a bystander. He's been accused of pulling the strings behind Robinson's extreme treatment. Solitary confinement, no phone calls, no visits, every measure possible to silence him. And people are starting to take notice. This is no longer just about Robinson, it's about what happens when someone dares to challenge the government. Is this really about justice, or is it about control?
£9 billion, all gone about the NHS and money. Get rid of these jihadis. Get them off our street. Why are we waiting for them to kill and murder us continually? There's 800 live terror investigations now. 16 Islamic terrorist attacks have been stopped since 2017. 3 successful Islamic terrorist attacks since November. Yet do you know what they've done? You have censored and got rid of all the people that talk about it. Our biggest concern has been about all the hate. You've just deleted Katie Hopkins for what? For a few truthful tweets about Stormzy, who's a homophobic bigot anyway, who actually promotes real racism against white people. And you've deleted her.
Starmer's silence says it all. If Robinson were truly insignificant, why go to such lengths to keep him locked away? The harsher the treatment, the more it looks like fear. Fear of what he knows, fear of what he might expose. But locking Robinson up hasn't silenced him. If anything, it's made his voice louder. Beyond those prison walls, millions still stand with him. They're not backing down. They're demanding answers. They're demanding his release.
The far-right activist Tommy Robinson has been jailed for 18 months for contempt of court after admitting to repeating false allegations about a Syrian refugee. Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, continued to repeat the claims even after he was successfully sued for libel in 2021, including in a film which has been viewed millions of times. Handing down the sentence, the judge said Robinson's actions suggested he regards himself as above the law.
This isn't just a fringe movement, it's a growing wave of support that spans backgrounds and beliefs. People are watching and they're outraged. They see a man being isolated, stripped of his rights and treated like a dangerous criminal simply for speaking out. And that only fuels the anger. Starmer knows this. He knows Robinson's influence hasn't weakened in confinement. If anything, it's only grown. And that's a real problem for the government. When millions feel ignored, when they believe their voices no longer matter, that anger doesn't disappear, it intensifies. The real question is, how long can they keep a lid on this? How long can they pretend this isn't a political firestorm waiting to explode? Because the more they try to silence Tommy Robinson, the louder his supporters become, and sooner or later, they won't be ignored. Kier Starmer may believe this will blow over, that people will move on, forget and accept Robinson's imprisonment as just another political decision. But that's not how this works. The outrage is real and it's not fading. For many, this isn't just about Robinson, it symbolises something much bigger. It's about a government that punishes those who speak out, a justice system being weaponised to silence opposition, and at the centre of it all, Starmer. This anger isn't just playing out on social media, it's spilling into real conversations, protests, and a growing distrust in the government. People feel betrayed. They see a Prime Minister who refuses to acknowledge what's happening, who seems indifferent to a man being cut off, isolated and silenced.
Don Keith here at Downing Street. I want you all to just take notice of the people who have shown up for Tommy Robinson today. Locked in solitary confinement, a political prisoner, a man the government does not want you to hear from. They're trying to keep him silent as much as possible. But it doesn't matter that Tommy's locked up because his message continues on. And even more so now because the tyranny of the British government can be seen through what they're doing to Tommy Robinson. Psychological torture, he's not eating well, unable to see certain visitors if they have social media platforms. Visitors are selected by the prison who he can and cannot see. All forms of psychological torture that they're putting Tommy Robinson through today. But I want you to look at the people who turned out to see Tommy Robinson today. So it doesn't matter. The British people are always going to thrive. They're always going to win out. And the more tyranny you put against them, the more backlash you're going to feel as the government. God bless Tommy Robinson. Free Tommy Robinson today.
And for those who once trusted Starmer, that trust is gone. His leadership is unravelling. Approval ratings are plummeting. People aren't just frustrated, they're fed up. The country is in crisis. Soaring costs, rising crime, a system on the brink. Yet, Starmer's focus remains on keeping Robinson behind bars. But why? Why is the Prime Minister so determined to silence one man?
So it doesn't matter. The British people are always going to thrive. They're always going to win out. And the more tyranny you put against them, the more backlash you're going to feel as the government. God bless Tommy Robinson. Free Tommy Robinson today.
The calls for Robinson's release aren't fading. They're growing louder. More people are waking up to what's happening and demanding justice. This isn't just about Robinson anymore. It's about a government that suppresses dissent and a leader who dodges accountability. Starmer can ignore the protests, the petitions and the outrage for now, but it won't last forever. His grip on power is slipping, and this could define his leadership. Because when a leader prioritises silencing critics over fixing real problems, people take notice, and when they've had enough, they make sure their voices are heard. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you stay updated on this developing story.